So I want to bring up our partner, Wanda Meloni. Wanda is a very seasoned analyst. She is the founder. She's the founder of M2 Research, which is a leading research analysis and insights company that has dealt with a number of topics, including games and gamification. And together, Wanda has put together the first industry analysis of the gamification business, which is pretty exciting. And she's here to share with you some of her results. Wanda.
Thanks, everybody. It's such a pleasure. I'm so thrilled to be here and be part of this. And thanks, Gabe, for making all of this come together. So what we want to do is quickly go through some key points. Let's see. So we're calling it Gamification Level 1. So our company, M2 Research, has been tracking games and entertainment, but also digital content. We do segmentation, trends in emerging mobile, microtransactions, platforms. We write industry reports. We do surveys. We do custom analysis for companies. And we've been tracking industry for over 15 years. And this is kind of a partial view of the way we've tracked the market. We have really tracked it over the last 15 years in terms of we've tracked CAD and product lifecycle management. We've tracked military simulation. We've tracked product design, games, film production. And the one common theme for all of this is that there's really a process, which is design, develop, and distribute. Whether you're doing it for consumers or enterprise or business-to-business applications, these themes all connect, and they're all interconnected. Military technology is really what helped fuel the games industry early on, and now the games technology is being funneled back into military. So these things all interrelate. And that is kind of the basis for how we look at gamification as being one more piece in this growing market. So early on, in the late 90s, early 2000, the first consumer engagement was simple 3D web objects that you had to wait forever for the browser. You had to download the browser, then you had to wait forever for the image to come, then all you could do is spin an object, add colors to a car, rotate a phone, and that was user engagement. And loyalty programs were pretty basic as well. And so now when we come to today and what we're seeing today, it's because we've had the infrastructure to build up these social networks and game dev and Epic Win and the Mint.com. They've all had these really phenomenal projects built around gamification. So let's get into some of the data. So what we did is surveyed and interviewed all the vendors of gamification. We've also surveyed and interviewed some of the top consultants in the industry and some agencies. And so some of our findings are, and this presentation will be available to anyone. It's on SlideShare, and we'll make it available if you're having trouble actually seeing the data points. So one of the questions we asked was, what are your clients currently asking for with game mechanics? And 44% of vendors' clients are looking for user engagement. And 33% are looking for brand loyalty, and then brand awareness is at about 20%. What's the current breakdown? Another question we wanted to ask is, where in the adoption cycle are companies in their projects? So one of the questions we asked was, what's the current breakdown of your clients on the gamification adoption curve? So as you can see, close to 35%, the vast majority, are still in the education stage with their clients. And 20% are in the defining features. And if you look down at the light blue, only 15% actually have completed products. So it shows you that we're just still, there is a flood of products and applications that are just starting to come out. So another question we asked was, what's your client base in terms of industry? How does it break down by industry? And about 45% are in entertainment, and that's sort of a given because it's easy. They're looking for engagement. It lends itself very well to gamification. And I know these are hard to probably read up on the screen, but the next publishers are at 18%, consumer goods at 15%, healthcare at 10%, financial services at 6%, retail 5%, education 3%, and telecom is about 1%. And I think what we're going to see happen is that as these break out by industry, they'll start being more definite. There'll be commonalities within an industry, and I think different things will start playing out in different industries. So, and then another question we asked was about business models. So currently over half, 55% of companies do subscription-based as their primary business model, with 24% at fixed fees, and the other big one was 14% were milestones, and 7% are percent of revenues. So this is the chart that is probably the most interesting. It's what we've determined is that by the end of 2011, the market is going to be just over $100 million. And so it still is small, but the growth, we predict that by 2015 that the market is going to be at $1.6 billion. And that's just for the production of gamification. We're not talking about added ROI value at this point. And what I wanted to do was compare it to social media market spend. And you can see it, it's in 2011, it makes up, it's 5% comparatively to social media. But as we progress, there's definitely, it's going to be taking up, it's going to be more representative with, by 2016, it'll be 31%. And so some of the additional findings were that the gamification right now is still primarily funded by marketing budgets. And the companies developing gamification solutions, the majority of them are 100% focused on gamification. But about 80% of them are doing work specifically in gamification. And the average growth rate over the next 2 years is going to be 150%. And that means that there's just going to be a huge amount of investment over the next 2 years. And if you think about, I was looking back at some data that on the online gaming industry in the I think it was 1996, the market for online gaming was 50 million. So if you look at where we've come, it's a hard thing to gauge because we're still so young in this market, and that's what makes it so exciting. So overall, the observations that we have are that I think we need to move. Right now, a lot of the gamification is funded by marketing budgets, but I think what we're going to start seeing is that there'll be more revenues put in earlier on to coordinate with just product development, and there'll be more startups that are just gamification right from the beginning of their launch. And done properly, there needs to be some understanding of game mechanics and real-time data analysis and social networks, and that sort of feeds back into the bigger picture of, content and getting people that have some experience in these areas, I think is critical. There is some risk. There'll be trial and error along the way, but that's part of the learning curve. And I think to keep the player in mind when building your projects is important. I know Amy Jo Kim refers to that. Instead of thinking of a user, think of the player. And there are skeptics, but I think the main thing to consider is that it's an emerging market and it requires education, and I think that's where we're at with this, is educating. We all here need to go back and educate clients, educate the community, educate the press to inform them of the benefits of gamification. And I think ultimately the issue will be building products responsibly. Consumers are intelligent, and if you're going to engage them, it has to be a responsible engage. If you're going to pull them in, then make sure we do responsible products. So we have a call to action, which is really help us define the market more. We want to work with everyone to come up with the next stage. How do we do the metrics on ROIs? We're looking for case studies. We want to talk to people to find out what it is that you need to better do your jobs and what metrics will help you. So, we want to hear from you, and we'll be doing another round of surveying. So hopefully, when that comes out, when the survey comes out, you'll all be willing to take part in the survey. So that's it. Thanks very much. And I think there'll be copies of the presentation available. And if you want to talk to me after Gabe's presentation, I'm happy to talk to anybody. Thanks very much.